All right, I am here to talk about my top 10 favorite Billy Wilder films. Billy Wilder is definitely one of my favorite directors, top five easily, just for the amount of films in his filmography that I find to be masterpieces. And even the ones that aren't masterpieces have a lot of redeeming value. And um, he definitely rubbed elbows with a lot of the greats of the 40s, 50s, 60s. Um, so I'll get started with some honorable mentions before I get into the top 10 or just movies that didn't make the cut. So, like Irma La Douce doesn't make the cut. Um, I don't think it knew exactly what it wanted to say about sex positivity. It brushes up against, some maybe early chances to talk about feminism, which would have been like huge for that movie to address. But it ultimately comes off as like a weird, not unsuccessful sex comedy that I just, great sets, great atmosphere. You could totally feel the Wilder touch because you really sank into the movie and it felt lived in, but ultimately didn't work for me. Another movie that didn't make the cut is Love in the Afternoon. Gary Cooper and Audrey Hepburn. I think Gary Cooper was like 20 years older than Audrey in this movie, and normally the age differences like don't factor a ton into how I feel about the movie, but this one felt weird. This felt like too big of a. It didn't feel believable, and he's also way huge. He's like 6'5". He's like a head and a half taller than her. It looks like it just felt weird and creepy. Love Gary Cooper, love Audrey, and it was just miscast. I think if they wanted to get an older man, they could have gone so many better ways and still found somebody dapper, but not 20 years. Like it didn't feel right. It didn't feel natural. Natural is the wrong word. It just anyway. Music in that movie, Love in the Afternoon, is amazing. The pacing is great. I love the structure of it. And the music works with that structure where you have the romantic encounter with that song and another romantic encounter with the same song and another, and it builds each time you see that scene, it's a little different. Super clever structure, and kind of just ruined by the casting. Definitely could have been a top probably 6 or 7 movie if it had been cast differently. Another movie that doesn't make the cut for me, The Major and the Minor, just feels too minor. That one, that a lot of people turned off the video for the when I just said that. Probably not much to say about that one. Not a super successful comedy, and it just feels almost like a TV movie version of a Billy Wilder film. It's fine. It's fine. It's just not um, significant to me. Let's get to the top 10. All right, starting in the top 10, starting with number 10, I have 7 Year Itch, a sex comedy that works to me a lot better than Irma La Douce. 7 Year Itch just knows its cast, knows what they do well, and puts them in position to succeed. It's exactly what it wants to be. It's exactly what you want it to be. The poster tells you what it's going to be, and it is, and it's great. It's great. It's Marilyn. So number 9, Sunset Boulevard. That's probably a bit lower than most people would have Sunset Boulevard. I don't totally, I can't explain to you logically why I have Sunset Boulevard ranked so much lower. It has so many ingredients that set it up to be a movie that I should absolutely love, and I just really like it. William Holden, one of the great actors of his generation and of all time, if you ask me. And I love the premise of it. it just doesn't. I don't revisit it as much as I do the movies ahead of it. Um, but it is a great movie, and I don't need to say anything more about that. Number 8, I have Stalag 17, which is like a war comedy. Um, that it's been a grower for me, to use the Pure Cinema podcast language, where the comedy it's a little off-putting at first because I'm not as used to these like war comedy movies from serious directors. I guess I'm used to like serious directors doing serious war movies like Paths of Glory or Saving Private Ryan. All these great directors have these great war movies, and Billy Wilder's is just a little sillier for for 9/10 of the movie until the last tenth of it, where the ending gets a little more serious. But he creates atmosphere in such an amazing way, which I love. I love how Wilder, when I step into his movies, it's a weathered paperback where the cover's ripped and the pages are yellowed and it's got the curve on the corners, and some of them are dog-eared. Everything feels lived in and weathered and real, and I love that. And Stalag 17 has that, and I love to revisit that one. And it's William Holden again, one of the greats. So I'll go to number 7, which is The Spirit of St. Louis, the movie about Charles Lindbergh. And it's Billy Wilder plus Jimmy Stewart, which is like, honestly, this movie deserves so much praise just for having those two come together. Like, that is a miracle in the history of cinema. I love that those two worked together. It's equal to me as Jimmy Stewart working with someone like Hitchcock. It's just as exciting as that. Like, if this movie had never seen the light of day, I'm sure I would be dreaming today with my friends, being like, man, can you imagine if Billy Wilder and Jimmy Stewart had worked together? But Spirit of St. Louis, very homey, very like Sunday afternoon movie with dad. It is not ruffling any feathers dramatically. It kind of stays right in the middle in terms of the twists and turns and the emotional beats of the story. But it's Jimmy Stewart and it's Billy Wilder, and it's fun and it's light, and I'm so glad it exists. I wish I could have watched this movie with my papa, my grandfather. I think he would have liked this. Not a fan of Charles Lindbergh's politics, I'll say that. Okay, I'll skip the number 6 here. We've got Double Indemnity, number 6. What can you say? Double Indemnity, one of the great noirs. I don't have much to add to that except for Barbara Stanwyck plus Billy Wilder is one of the great combinations. I'm so glad that combination happened, just like the Jimmy Stewart one happened. He knew what to do with these great actors, and Barbara was one of the best of all time, one of my favorites of all time, and she is just A plus 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 in this. If you haven't seen Double Indemnity, it is the noir to see. Number 5, I have Sabrina, one of the great romance movies. I love the atmosphere of this movie. I love the mid-century modern, the office, the house, the cars, the Audrey-ness. I mean, Audrey and William Holden, and of course Bogey. The thing that takes Sabrina down just like a half star for me, to use Letterboxd terms, is Audrey and Bogey. That's another kind of strange romance to me. It doesn't rub me quite as weird as the Gary Cooper one does, but it still feels like, man, they just didn't know who to put Audrey with in her heyday. Like, even Rex Harrison, why do they always put her with these movie star males who were, 15, 20 years older and a foot taller? Obviously, Gregory Peck was like a foot taller too, but he was at least like, it felt a closer age and a closer like vibe to Audrey, so that felt way better in Roman Holiday. But her and Bogey is like, it's better than her and Gary Cooper. It's not, it still doesn't feel totally like, yes, I wish that was a real couple in real life, But Sabrina, black and white romance escape um, into Billy Wilder's incredible world that he created with that one. Number four, I have Some Like It Hot, which I guess you could say is kind of a sex comedy. Just more of a comedy, isn't it? More of a romp. This movie um, is all the problem with talking about Billy Wilder is what do you add? What do you add to the discourse? Um, if I can add anything, it's just my passion for these movies. Like I'll just throw my passion on the heap of passion that already exists around these incredible films. But Some Like It Hot, so fun. Jack Lemmon, what a treasure, and Billy Wilder knew what to do with him, and him with Tony Curtis and Marilyn, um, super funny, so enjoyable, so quick. Every single one of these movies, the atmosphere of them, you just sink into it and you believe it 100%. I don't know how he did it. Credit to his production. Credit to all the people who worked on his crew in the production area. Some Like It Hot is funny, fun, quick, light, and you could really watch it with anybody. And I can't think of anybody that I know that wouldn't find something to love about that. Number three, I have Ace in the Hole, the Kirk Douglas, kind of like based on that Kentucky Caver Floyd Collins story. It's just like hard edge, biting, talking about news coverage, how media can twist things, morally, what is ours to share, morally, what is our business to do about other people's predicaments. This movie also, I love the look of it. It's got that Southwest New Mexico, Arizona look to it. And I just want to be there. I want to be in this movie, even though it's a horrible situation. The tone of this movie is also like crazy how he creates this, like there's this media circus and there's this trapped cave and there's the Kirk Douglas charm, and something about it all works to create this like kind of warm, eerie, light, engaging drama that I think asks some hard-hitting questions, and I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a 4.5 or a 5, depending on how I'm feeling that day. Number two, the Billy Wilder movie that I've watched the most is Witness for the Prosecution. Charles Laughton, absolute treasure. Like I know I've already listed several of the great treasures of American cinema, which how lucky are we that Billy Wilder cast these people in his movies. And I'm so thankful that Charles Laughton worked with Billy Wilder, and he was perfect. What's his character in this? Wilford. So funny. Like it starts with such a great character introduction. The cantankerous, kind of smug, and Charles Laughton's character, and then is it Tyrone Power who plays the guy he's defending, Marlene Dietrich. I mean, just Murderer's Row. The casting here is just spot on, and it's clearly very stage play. I think it's based on a stage play, or maybe based on the story. I'm showing my ass a little bit here by not. I'm not looking at this stuff. I'm looking at the list of movies, not at the trivia. But I love a courtroom drama, and this is one of the absolute best of all time. There's not a single day that this wouldn't be in my top 3 favorite courtroom dramas, along with the Jimmy Stewart, George C. Scott, Otto Preminger one. That's name is escaping me right now. But this movie is just a courtroom drama that you want it to be, with the twists and the turns and the oohs and the ahs and the relief that comes at some points and the tension that builds at others. And Charles Laughton just leading the orchestra, you think, for most of it. And I love spending time with this movie and with the characters in it. And Charles Laughton, absolute treasure. Think about all these great actors. Charles Laughton, Stanwyck, Jimmy Stewart, Kirk Douglas, Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, William Holden. I can't, like, it just, Jack Lemmon, it doesn't stop. Fred McMurray a couple times. Insane that he did this. My number one movie, I don't think it'll surprise many people at all, is for Billy Wilder, is The Apartment. Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, Fred McMurray, and what this video feels more and more pointless the more that I watch this, and I just go, these movies speak for themselves. Go out and see this. The Apartment, atmosphere, winter.
Okay,
New
I
York.
found this on the web for this video.
New York. It's a good New York City movie. Siri, please turn off. I don't want you right now. It's a great, charming New York City apartment. Jack Lemmon, kind of down on his luck, always getting pushed over. To me, it feels like a Christmas movie, and I know it's around Christmas time, but I like to watch it around that time too. And just the good guys finish last, or what is it? Good guys finish. I don't know. The Apartment. You gotta. I'm losing my train of thought here, but let's see what I said about The Apartment. I'll look at it real quick and see if y'all will stick around for this. Where's my diary entry on The Apartment? All right, doesn't seem like I'm gonna find it on my laptop looking at this. So what I would say is Billy Wilder, one of the great directors. Watch these movies. If you don't like the Billy Wilder movies, you'll know more about cinema after watching them. You can come back and tell me how much you hated them, and we can discuss it. And I'll have to learn from your taste, because it's clearly different than mine, but I'd like to expand my taste some. And how fun that we have all these great movies to enjoy, and so many by the same director. So from 10 down to 1, we have 7-Year Itch at 10, Sunset Boulevard 9, Stalag 17 at 8, Spirit of St. Louis at 7, Double Indemnity at 6, Sabrina at 5, Some Like It Hot at 4, Ace in the Hole at 3, Witness for the Prosecution at 2, The Apartment at 1, and Billy Wilder at number 1 in my heart. Thanks for listening. I'll see you at another video.